Hey everyone, in this quick tutorial you'll learn how to build this cozy low-poly isometric room in Blender. Simple, fast and perfect for beginners. So let's get started. First, let's add a plane. Press Tab to go to edit mode and extrude it a little bit by Z axis. Next, go to modifiers and click add modifier, generate and add a bevel modifier. Increase the segments to 3 and make the amount 0.01. This will get us smooth edges. Now press Shift D, duplicate it by Y-axis. Now scale it down by Y-axis. Next press here in snapping settings and choose vertex and then enable it. And now when you can snap your objects to another object. So snap it here, press Tab and move this segment to the top. Next select this face and press E to extrude it. Now this extrude and snap it here. Again Ctrl A and all transforms, so the bevel modifier works good. Right click and shade auto smooth. Next let's create a carpet. So Shift A, plane, move it by Z axis and snap it here. Go to top view and scale it down. Now go to edit mode, press Tab and extrude it. So we have the carpet. You can scale it down or up as you like it. Next we're gonna create our sofa. So Shift A, add a cube, go to top view and scale it down. Move it right here. Now go to wireframe mode, so press Z and 4. Then press Tab to go to edit mode and press 1 to choose vertex. Now move this vertex right here. Go back to solid mode, move it by Z axis to the top and scale it down by Z axis. This will be the bottom of our sofa. So move it down a little bit. You can play with the scale as you like it. Now Ctrl R to add a loop cut and Ctrl B to bevel it. Add another loop cut here. Press 3 to go to face selection and select these faces. Now extrude them by Z axis. Press Tab to go back object mode. Ctrl A and all transforms and set origin to geometry. Now go to modifiers and add a bevel modifier. Make this amount 0.01 and segments increase to 3. Now go back to edit mode, select this face, press Shift D to duplicate it and P to separate the object. Select it, press Tab and extrude it by Z axis. Ctrl A to apply all transforms and origin to geometry. Now applied shade auto smooth. Let's now create our pillows. So add a cube, scale it down, go to top view and move it here. Press Tab and press Z4 to go to wireframe mode. Select this vertex and move it to something like here. Now move this up. Again, edit mode, go to solid mode and press 3 to select faces and move it up. Now Ctrl A all transforms and set origin to geometry. Now add a bevel modifier again, increase the segments and shade auto smooth. Now rotate it, press R, X to rotate it by X axis and Shift D, X to duplicate it by X axis, and we have two pillows. Now let's create small pillows. So Shift A, cube, scale it down, go to top view, move it something like here. move it up, scaled by x-axis. Ctrl A, all transforms, set origin to geometry. Again, add a bevel modifier. Increase the segments and shade after smooth. Now place it right here, rotated by z-axis and rotated by y-axis. Now Shift D, X, duplicate it and rotate it by z-axis. Now let's create our legs of the sofa. So Shift A, cube, go to top view, scale it down, move it right here, scale it down, move it up to the sofa, press Tab and select the bottom face. With Enable Snap, snap it to our floor. Now add modifier, generate and add a mirror modifier. Select the object our sofa, so we duplicate it here. Now press Shift D, y-axis and duplicate it here. So the sofa is ready. Now let's create our armchair. We will do it very simply, just duplicate the sofa. Duplicate only one pillow because we need only one. Shift D, Y, and rotate it by z-axis by 90 degrees. Move it here. Now select the main base of the sofa and this one. Press Tab. Press Z4 to go to wireframe mode. 1 to select vertices and select this vertex. And move it to something like here. Now Ctrl A, all transforms and set origin to geometry. Delete the mirror modifier and add it again. Select this object by y-axis and now duplicate it. Now let's create our wardrobe. So Shift A, add a cube, scale it down, go to top view and move it to something right here. Press Tab, Z4 to go to wireframe mode, move these words here, this move something like here, press Tab, go back to solid mode, move it up and with the snap enabled, snap it to the floor. Press Tab, select this face and move it up. Now Ctrl A, all transforms and set origin to geometry. Now add a bevel modifier, increase the segments to 3 and here amount 0.01. Shade after smooth. Now press Shift D, Y to duplicate it by y-axis and scale it down by y-axis. And now scale it down by x-axis. Go to top view and move it right here. Snap it to the object with the snap enabled. Again Ctrl A, all transforms and set origin to geometry. Now add a mirror modifier and select the main as our mirror object. Press Tab, Z4, select this and move it right here. To create handle, let's add a UV sphere, shade after smooth and scale it down. Go to top view, place it here and scale it down, something like this, and move it by Z-axis to the top. Shift D, X to duplicate it and move it a little bit down. Now let's add a window to our scene, so select the walls, press Tab, Ctrl R to add a loop cut, Ctrl B. Now add another loop cut here, and again Ctrl B. Move it up a little bit. Now select this face and this face, right click and bridge faces, so we have a hole here. Now go to edge select mode, select this and this edges, press Shift D and pad to separate. Press Tab, select our new object, again press Tab, press A to select all and press F to fill the object. Now set origin to geometry and move it here. Now again press tab and extrude it a little bit. Now select this and this and press I to insert face. Now Ctrl R to add a loop cut and here. Now press Shift plus Alt and select this loop cut and press Ctrl B. Now select this and this face and bridge faces and do the same for other 3 faces. So now we have a window. Let's create our plant. So for the base I'll use cylinder, scale down, move it up and snap it to the floor, scale it down a little bit, again snap it, press tab and select top face and press S to scale it a little bit. Now press I to insert the faces and E to extrude it down. Now shade after smooth and move it right here. Now press Shift S and select cursor to select it. So now when we will add object, it will appear here. So Shift A, add a plane, rotate it by x-axis by 90 degrees and scale it down. Move it up a little bit and snap it to the bottom of our vase. Press tab, select this edge and move it up. Now move it here and scale it down by x-axis. Add a loop cut here, here, add modifier and add a solidify modifier. So it will be our leaves. Press tab again and scale it down a little bit and shade after smooth. Now simply you can rotate it and with Shift D add another leaves and with S scale them up and down. The next what we're gonna add to our scene will be painting on the wall. So Shift A, plane, rotate it by x-axis 90 degrees and scale it down, go to front view and move it here. Scale this painting as you like it. I'll do something like this. Now with the snap enabled, snap it to the wall, press tab and extrude this face. Here, Ctrl A all transforms and set origin to geometry. Now insert this face a little bit and extrude it to the wall. So we have our painting ready. And now let's create our last object, that will be coffee table. But before we continue, please make sure that you are subscribed to channel. So Shift A, add a cylinder, scale it down, go to top view and move it here. Scale it down a little bit and make the size smaller. So shade after smooth. This will be the top of our coffee table. And now let's add legs. So duplicate this object, Shift D, Z and scale it down. Now press S, Z to scale it only by Z axis. Move it down and with the snap enabled, snap it here and select bottom face and snap it to the carpet. Move it to something here and add the mirror modifier. Select our top of the table as our mirror object. Now duplicate the leg and press Shift Z and move it here. And here change the axis to Y and turn off X. So we have our 4 legs. So we modeled all our objects and can move further to the camera. So Shift A, add a camera. Go to output properties and change the resolution to be the square. So I'll set 1080. and press Ctrl Alt 0 to move our camera to our view. Now go to camera properties and change perspective to orthographic. You can move it down. You can go here and change the rotation as you like it. Let's add a plane. So Shift A plane and move it down. This will be our background. Scale it up. Now let's go to materials and render properties. So go to render properties and change EV to cycles and CPU to GPU if you have GPU. Now let's add a lighting to our scene. So Shift A, light, and add an area. Move it up to something like here and scale it up. Now go to render preview and make power bigger. Now let's add another lighting to make the shadows from the window and the light from the window as a sun. So rotate it like here, move it to the window, and now in light properties make spread around 5 degrees, and holding this yellow circle, move it to our sofa, for example, and maybe scale it a little bit and move it something like here and rotate it a little bit. Now let's add our materials. To add a material, select, for example, our sofa, go to material and click new, and here you can change the color. So I'll do something like, now to add the same material to other objects, select all the objects that need to have this same material. So I'll select this all, and the last object I must select will be this sofa, and hit Ctrl L and link materials. So all our objects now have this material. Now let's add a material for our small pillows. I'll do something like this and select again and Ctrl L, link materials. Now add materials to all of the objects. I will speed up this process and you can pause if you want to see some details. Now to add two materials to one object, so in this case the painting must have frame different materials than the inner face. So press Tab, select this inner face, and here in materials properties click here, add new and assign it, so it has different material. Now do the same for the vase. Now for the background I'll use different materials, so select this plane, click new and change principled to background. Now adjust the power of lighting so our scene will be more lighter, because now it's very dark. You can adjust the position of light if you like. Now when you're satisfied with all your lightings and materials, go back to solid mode and click F12 to render the image. And here we go, your scene is ready.